Hello everyone, this is a 2v2. It's not 1v1, not in Stormgate. It's actually kind of a custom map that devs put together, and this series is from Tank, the Alpha Navigators Cup, which is Attico's tournament. He's been putting it on. I think this was a show match for what happened, but anyways, this is Albino in theory versus Fana and oroszgyulajr. I'm actually not sure how you're supposed to say his name, but anyways. Infernal Vanguard versus Celestials Infernals. And this map is super interesting, or this series that we're going to watch is actually really interesting for a couple reasons. First and foremost, this map, Isle of Dread, is also a one-player map. But they've gone, and the developers have gone and edited a little bit, so you have a couple extra Illuminite setups, primarily in the main base, and you're going to go from there. So, again, a little bit different. We're actually going to get into some maps that are very different as we move into this series. But for right now, again, this is what we would expect. So we can see our red Celestial player. I'm going to stop trying to pronounce his name. But of course, this is the Celestial thing that we're used to. You run forward, you put your arc ship on the map. You try to take maybe a creep camp early on. Although this camp doesn't, or this map doesn't really seem to have any sort of Illuminite camps. The ones that the Illuminite resource camps that you would expect, kind of straight up the middle that you're used to seeing right around right here, doesn't really exist anymore. So maybe a little bit awkward, but anyways, collection array moving forward, all of that. And the other thing we should point out here is this scout is being very annoying. Slowly working away at that shrine. Shouldn't kill it. The thing we should point out as we take a look at this is unlike, say, StarCraft, where if you play a team game, 2v2, 3v3, whatever it is, and you play with a Zerg player, you have to be very careful where your creep's going to go, because otherwise you can't build structures. Well, that's not really a worry. The Shroud, you don't have to worry about that. But anyways, this scout brute pressure, Hexen pressure coming out of Theory and Albino. One of the things that you can do when you're playing against the Celestial, if you can just go find their collection arrays really early, and scouts are very quick for this. If you can just find their collection array early, you can knock that down, and yeah, you can either, they lift up and fly, sure, fine. Or they just lose their mining. And either way, they lose their mining. So we're going to have a red Celestial player, and not super happy about how the way this game is starting. But he does have a lot of pressure. Bunches of Bastions getting dropped down. Problem is, 3 Brutes, a Hexen on the other side of the map, and there's nothing here. This was being set up for a one-base Hedgehog type of play. In fact, I think maybe a couple Hedgehogs are on the map in the middle, hard to tell. But the problem is, there's nothing here. Right, these 3 Brutes are very tanky right now. You have the Hexen as well, dropping Infest on top of everything. Hedgehog's gonna get on top, and finally the Hexen is dead. And yeah, you're not gonna get it for another minute or two before you go into Greater Shrine, but this overcharge is gonna be done soon. Fiends are just wailing away. And this is a brown, we'll call it brown. This is a brown Vanguard player that doesn't really have a lot of mining. So now, there we go. Overcharge is done, which means these mobs are just very upsetty spaghetti. They're all going to go down. And at this point, well, it is a red Celestial player by himself against the world. And this early aggression coming out of Theory and Albino all working together made life very, very hard. Well executed. And yes, sometimes Celestial, their pushes can be very strong. You post up in the opponent's main base and you do what you can, but well, one of the tenets of RTS gaming is more money, more stuff, more victory. And in this case, it is 2 players economy versus 1 player economy. We got a bunch of Hedgehogs, highly promoted here as well, so they're gonna knock everything down. And this attempt, well, yeah, this arc ship isn't gonna even last all that long, so they're gonna tap out. Unfortunately, early aggression found an awkward angle. And that means game 1 did in fact go the way of the Aftermath boys. All right, now we're into map 2, and actually I can't remember what this map name is, but when I talk about how the setup here, we had Isle of Dread map 1, which is it's just a 1v1 ladder map that had an extra base added in the main base. This map is very different. This is almost kind of like a MOBA map, 2 lanes instead of 3, obviously, but you have these 2 discrete pushing lanes. And what that means is you're going to have 2 players playing with each other, but also not, as we see the Hexen drops the skull, going to look to get as many Gaunts as possible, or get as many Fiends as possible. 1 Fiend goes down, you kind of cut away. And, bit of lag. There we go, we're good. But anyway, so clearing out the Mineral Camp, or the Illuminite Camp, should be fine. Scout's trying to be annoying with it, but seems like, or excuse me, the Therium camp. So for the most part, killing the scout, maybe. No, he's not going to get that. Okay. Oh no, sorry, that was Albino scout. And by the way, this is still Albino theory versus Fana and Oros. The overlay just has decided not to pair them together this time. It appears that it's going top down instead of team by team. So the two players on the bottom side of the map are on the top side of the overlay, and the two players on the top side of the map are on the bottom side of the overlay. So it's somewhat clockwise. Anyways, not totally sure what's up with that one. And I do apologize for the brief lag spikes here. This is off a VOD that I have, generously provided by Attico, and I guess there were some issues with the just getting that up. So, anyways, if that's happening, that is happening. But anyway, Albino and Theory together, able to take advantage of that very early Therium outpost. And the cool thing about these outposts, by the way, these resource gathering creep areas, is that both players benefit. So not just Albino, not just Theory, but both of them get the extra Therium every 6 Therium every tick, whatever that is per minute. I don't know, 30 Therium per minute or something. I don't actually know what the tick rate is, but point being, they both benefit from it. So that will power their early aggression coming on out. But for right now, we're also going to see Celestials trying to see what they can. Now, that's going to be a cancel on the Bastion. So this attempted outpost, this attempted area, is not really going to work out. As Theory and Albino pushing through the bottom of the map. We talked about this was kind of like a MOPA map with 2 different pushing lanes, but you can also just decide to go in and push through the middle of the map and the same thing. And I've seen people in other videos talk about how, oh, well, don't we see anything? This is kind of mono battling right now. It's like, well, first of all, we're going to see the mass promotion here. 5 energy for the amount of XP you get is kind of silly. But anyways, 2v2 wasn't played a ton. There was this one... Attico, please. There was this one test, like there were a couple maps added in the frigate test. There were like a couple tournaments where we saw some team play, but this is not on ladder. So a lot of this is players kind of theory crafting, trying to figure things out. As oh, that's a bug. So there was a bug that when you hit the sovereign overcharge, or whatever this is called, where it does damage the laser cannon, where if you put a unit on hold position just out of range, the Celestial, the auto target will go on that unit just out of range, and it actually won't be able to do much of anything. So anyways, Bastion is going to go down, but now, hey, Arc Ship, second Bastion, energy battery, they're going to post up on that Therium, setup, which is going to be a bit annoying for the time being, as these Bobs are overcharged, and the Fiends should be able to get knocked down for the most part. But just these mass upgraded Hedgehogs, not Hellborn, these mass upgraded Hedgehogs, they're just untouchable. They have so much damage, they have so much HP. And now the Infest Spell, Nightfall Infestation, gets dropped on top. So any sort of Bobs that get taken down by this point, which, by the way, despite the overcharge, Hedgehogs will take them down, are going to turn into more Fiends. So this is snowballing once again. Theory, he had the not the Conclave. He had the structure on the bottom side, but that's going to be dealt with. And it seems like our players are dead again. Fana and Oros, they worked really hard to make this happen, but... well, all the Bobs are dead. We're going to see these Argents, and Argents are cool, but Hedgehogs are just very mobile. They are a ton of damage here, and Argents just they don't do enough damage. They're not tanky enough. They don't do enough damage. So now, 4 Hedgehogs, all at tier 3. Yeah, they're going to kill everything. At this point, yeah, Fana 9 supply, Oros 28, sure, fine, but yeah, it's very, very rough here. And this has been the story of things. Yes, you have the Celestial player, but because you tend to want to play as active on the map as Oros has been, that's just how Celestials gets played. It means that the Vanguard player is extremely vulnerable early on. I don't know if anyone remembers like early days of StarCraft 2 co-op, or not co-op, excuse me, of 2v2. Maybe not early days, but through Heart of the Swarm at the very least. The prevailing meta that you would see was what people would call dogs and cars, which were Zerglings and Hellions, and they would just cover each other weaknesses, get on top, and just annihilate games super early a good percentage of the time. This is kind of, it feels like we're seeing that again. It's not dogs and cars, it's fiends and cars is what's happening instead. Now we get into game number 3 of this best of 5, and again, if you like what I do, you want more Stormgate. I can't promise a ton between now and early access, but I'm getting as much as I can. And if you want more Stormgate, you want StarCraft VODs, all of these things, catch me live on Twitch, but also go sub to the YouTube channel, because it really does help out quite a bit. And now look at this map. I actually haven't seen this map. I did not play a lot of 2v2 in the last test, so this is my first time taking a look at this map, and I mean, it looks really cool. We should point out as well, as we take a look at these players' main base, they're separate, but only separated by trees that can be taken down. So if you feel the need to go and really go and have fun and hang out with your friend, you absolutely can. You can send a worker over and cut things down. You can send a morph core over if you're Celestials and cut some of the trees down. Although it sounds like the morph core may be gone in the next playtest. I'm not totally sure about that. Not totally sure, but anyways, this map is super cool, and unironically, I have issues with a lot of the one player maps. I think from a competitive balance perspective, I think that they are really interesting in terms of exploring different concepts, and I have no grudge against Frost Giant for trying a bunch of different stuff. But a lot of these maps are very broken, which is fine. Again, that's not a big deal, but it is broken, and I think we're gonna have to ideally see some ones that are a little bit more balanced once the community map makers start to make things. But I do think that the 2v2 maps are actually just a little bit better. I mean, I'm just looking at this. The bases are a little bit more kind of obvious in terms of expansion patterns. Now, the one thing we should take a look at here is on this map, you get one Therium patch in your main base. You get one in the natural, but you can either go and you can take the Therium, or you can go as again, we're seeing Theory and Albino work together to clear these early camps with a Hexen. You can clear a camp with just your Hexen, but it's a whole lot easier if you got a scout to tank as well. So they're going to do that and start really getting that Luminite income going as quickly as possible. But the point that I want to talk about here is we take a look at the setup. So if you want double Therium, you're going to have to go and spend a structure that is only mining Therium, not Luminite. So it will never pay for itself. It'll give yourself a different resource, but it's never truly going to pay for itself. And particularly as an Inferno player, that hurts, because you have to go and buy a shrine. You can get a Therium refinery as a Vanguard player and get it for fairly cheap. So yeah, that is a little bit annoying on this map setup, but yeah, it's going to be reasonable, as we're going to see the mass promotion scout strat here in this game at number 3. Albino, 4 or 5 scouts already, all level 3. So just, again, tankier, more damage, all that fun. And they're just going to annihilate all these camps. Is really the thing right now. You can go and, turns out scouts, I mean, with their bonus damage to light, they just shred creep camps, and it makes life rather complicated. So for now, Fana, he's got a bunch of hedgehogs on the map. Gonna find a scout, gonna find the Shroud Stone most likely, and this from Theory is gonna get dealt with. This Theory definitely battening down the hatches back at home. He's got what looks like a full wall. It's not a full wall. We can see it's a one wide, so units can get through. His Hexen's gonna get dove on top of here, and yeah, it's still alive just a little bit longer. It should die. He's not gonna dive it. Okay, Hexen's still alive is a massive deal, recalling back to the shrine, so it's gonna get out, which means it's utility, this ability to go and infest things just a little bit longer. Oh well, it's dead. Never mind. I'm talking about how cool this is, but it's not really. But now we got the heavy push coming out of Fana and Oros. We got the whatever it's called. We got the laser cannon on top of the arc ship. We've got a repair turret to make sure these hedgehogs stay alive a little bit longer. And this wall that we talked about from Theory, that's battening down the hatches, that's meant to keep him alive, is going to go down very quickly on the heels of these 5 Argent, these hedgehogs that are getting heavily upgraded. In Theory, yeah, he's got this position now, but the funny thing about playing against Celestials is honestly having high ground isn't that much of an advantage. They can still drop down things nearby. The arc ship provides flying vision whenever you need it. So I feel like Theory is actually going to have to give this position up, and he's gotten gaunts because, well, against hedgehogs you kind of need gaunts, but these level 3 hedgehogs are just really hard to kill, even with the gaunt amount that he has. He's going to get one of them down now, and Shroud Stones are starting to pop up a little bit more. Hedgehogs are dying, and realistically they shouldn't, but now you're running this issue where the gaunts are just going to annihilate, or the Argents are just going to annihilate the gaunts. At the very least, Albino on the other side, recognizing that, wait a minute, this is a problem. My friend's under some heavy threat. I have like 10 scouts. Sure, Theory's gonna lose as natural, but I'm gonna kill every single bob that Fana has. And at that point, we're gonna kind of turn this. Oh, jeez. This many Argents, when they're full on energy, or at least enough energy, the Shroudstones get one shot. And we're gonna see the repair turret getting one shot as well. So, yeah, okay, no mining from Fana right now, whatsoever. He's got 15 supply. That's the only supply he's gonna have this game. There's no mules, nothing left. Collection array goes down to the main base. That shouldn't really be a thing. But Albino's gonna lose his base as well. So, as we take a look at our setup here, this Argent count, this can snowball really hard. Yeah, a couple Shroudstones as well, but we're gonna see here is a Weaver. Theory gets that out pretty quickly. And Weavers are really good against highly upgraded units. Weavers do percent damage on the yank, they do percent damage on their attack. And when you give your opponent, when you give your units more veterancy, as we see with the Hedgehogs right now, that means that they have more HP. So functionally, it does more damage. You know, at the end of the day, it's still 20% or whatever it is. But it does make it is pretty nice here, as we're going to see one Argent on the back line, the save, because of course you get 2 abducts, one to go and try to kill units, one to save your own. And when you do abduct like that, you get full white health. It's such a powerful save if you can take advantage of it. And for now, one Weaver's dead, sure, but the other 2 are still here. We're gonna see maybe a couple more lashes, I guess not. And we're gonna see again the sovereign cannon, whatever it's called, is gonna go down once again with this forward arc ship. Fana is apparently still mining. I don't know how that works, but Weavers also, we talked about percentage damage. They do percentage damage to structures as well. So we're going to see the Gaunts go down. Weavers try to knock this arc ship down. And Oros is a hard push into the main base. Albino, this army, again, is really hard to fight, but the arc ship's dead. That's such a powerful position to go and try to set yourself up from. You're going to have to build another one, Oros, eventually, but I don't know if there's going to be allowed to. Full surround from the Weavers as well. The overcharged Bobs. And the Argents, they're out of energy. They don't do nearly as much damage as they used to. Weavers are starting to fall down here. And actually, I think they should just all go down, but it's this mass overcharge Bob on the repair or just on the pull is doing so much into this. And yeah, we're going to see the Naturals dead, sure, but the Hedgehog, the mass Bobs, I think it's going to be enough. Albino, I mean, Theory still has his main base. It's kind of the point here. The arc ship's dead. These scouts on the map, well, they're going to go find these last couple Bobs that somehow survived. I'm not totally sure what happened with that one. But we're going to find the last one of those on the map. The Hedgehogs on the high ground continue to go and get promoted here, so it's not even like there's a big promotion advantage. Shrine on the way from Theory at the Natural. He's just getting Weavers out whenever he has the money. And yeah, Biokinetics Lab's going to go down. And yes, Overcharge is done for now. But we're going to see, again, the health pool on these Hedgehogs is a little bit stronger. And now, okay, so Weaver comes in for the backside. There's no really escape anymore either. The stun, the Hedgehog's dead. And this should probably do it. Theory and Albino combined at around 75 supply or so. Oros and Fana, 24. Everything's dead. Collection array is mostly gone. Army, mostly gone. The main base of Fana. In fact, he's not going to get eliminated because he does have a barracks on the other side of the map. But, okay, there we go. Flame on. Imps are going to blow up, and this should do it. There we go. Really cool game 3, actually. I think the 2v2 Master is better than the 1v1 maps right now. But anyways, that's going to be a 3-0 for the Aftermath boys as they take down Operencia, is what the other team called themselves.